It's a beautiful day. It's October 30th. I am at Rutgers University, and I'm speaking to...
Alexander, born Kettles, and I'm here to represent, my state of New Jersey.
All right, so tell us a little about yourself and how you got into activism.
First and foremost, born and raised in the city of Perth Amboy. Grew up. I didn't have a bunch of money and nothing like that. So grew up in the projects. Matter of fact, it was 4 projects in my town. So I kind of realized how it was to not have. You know what I mean? But when I was younger though, there were programs around. We had recreation programs. We had the CETA program, and then unfortunately after as I started to grow get a little older, they start cutting those programs, and then the only other way to really earn a living was, or earn money and things like that, was to go out into the street and try to earn it that way, or do things that weren't good.
So what do you think these, how did cutting these programs really impact the development of the community?
Well, I'll say this: the cutting of the program, and it seemed like, and I don't know if it was that way, but it seemed like soon as they cut the programs, there was a big influx of pushing of drugs and crime came to the neighborhood after that. So I kind of correlated the two of them together as I look back now. But at the time, while it was happening, we were just existing in it. But I think that the cutting of the programs, it led to more criminal activity, drugs, and crime, in the neighborhood.
Right. And how do you think the situation is now?
Really, I don't think it has got better. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that you name the city, and I literally can match it up to any city you go to where there's a lot of people that look like myself. You'll see that there's the same societal ills. They're the same homelessness, crime, drugs, abuse. Mental health problems, people, committing crime and things like that. But it really doesn't matter which city, you go to in the state of New Jersey, especially when it's a lot of, people that they consider minorities. There's a lot of that going on in those communities.
Right. What do you think can be done to assist the minorities in these communities? What do you think can be done to help these communities thrive again?
Oh, okay. Well, one, the things that I do, and the people that I'm around with, that I network with, and some of the all of the organizations. Because if you're an organization and you really don't help, or you really don't add on or help out, the next man, woman, or child, then I don't really want to be even involved with you guys. But I'll say this: what can be done is go to the ones that are suffering the most, who need the help the most, and ask them what they need. And then as you do that, be there with the resources, be there with the opportunity, and be there with the solutions that you can actually help these individuals get to the next step. Whether it be if they're homeless, see what got them to be homeless. See what it is, and then also too, check their physical health, check their mental health. You know what I mean? Because at the time that a person may have lost their home, or they lost their job, or what have you, or they're doing activities that are not right, there's underlying reasons for that.
Right.
So to help that out, go to the person, to the individual, and see what it is, their needs assessment, and see what they need.
Absolutely. So let's go to the root system itself. Right. It's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's your take on the current New Jersey political system as a whole?
I have a real strong opinion, the way I see it, because of the fact that even with the shirt that I'm wearing, Amend the 13th, right? Amending the 13th, to me, it has a strong impact because of the fact of my melanin in my skin, my complexion, right? Which, they say in the United States, judged by the content of your character and this, that, and other. But it seems to me, when it comes to, political wise, it's like the darker you are, it seems, or a person that has color in their skin,
right,
is always a negative effect. So with the current political system, we're still, after, committing of a crime, you're 3/5 of a human being again, which is, puts you right back in the slavery category.
Right.
But then again, when we bring it to the State House and we walked up there and we say amend the 13th, everybody's looking like, what are you talking about? That doesn't exist. It does exist. It's in the Constitution. So we want it out of there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm currently involved in that. in the movement to amend the 13th to remove slavery out of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I don't even know if the people even knew that. You know?
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest barriers standing in the way of amending the 13th Amendment?
The people that are comfortable, the people that are complacent, the people that go along to get along, the gatekeepers, the ones that sit back and they look at the way things are and they're comfortable with it because of the fact that they may not be directly affected at this time. Yet, and still, they have family members, they have friends, they have other people that are system impacted. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as long as they're, okay, they're comfortable and they live in a pretty good neighborhood, they sit there and say, well, go for yours. We got ours, now you get yours, which is not the way you're supposed to be if you're in a political situation. If you're in a political situation, once you get stable, you're supposed to stabilize, your constituents and your taxpayers and everybody else around you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They say, I'm going to lower your taxes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. They give you all the political promises. But then once you get there, they get inside for 4 years. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, they don't come back to see you until there's another 4 years up for them to get reelected. But they didn't hold out on their promises that they promised you 4 years ago.
Now you talk a little bit about it's hard to change in politics, right? When someone gets in there, it's hard to get them out. They stop being responsive to the people, right? What do you think allowed the situation to become this way?
Wait, you say it's hard to change when they get elected and they get in there and then they get comfortable?
Yeah.
It's not hard to change. It's up to us as people. It's up to us as voters to sit there and say, well, listen, this guy or this guy or this lady didn't do what they said they were going to do. They literally lied to our faces. Mm-hmm. So now what are we going to do as the people? Because it's people before politics, right? Okay. But then they get in there, they make the same promises, they kiss the same babies, they shake the same hands, they smile and put on a suit. But then they get back in there and do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So the people that are being complacent or the people that are sitting there and allowing it to happen, you got to sit there and hold them and say, well, why didn't you hold them accountable? Why didn't you go to the meetings? Why didn't you ask them? Why, and then write letters. Also, formerly incarcerated people got a right to vote now. Mm-hmm. They got their right to vote back in the state of New Jersey. Matter of fact, a friend of mine from Transformative Justice Initiative, my brother Tone Henshaw, him and Ron, they were the ones that were advocating us to get the right back to vote. People that were system impacted. So now we got the right to vote. 83,000 people that were system impacted in the state of New Jersey now have the right to vote. Exercise that. Mm-hmm. Utilize that. Utilize that power that you now have, which, the other side, they really didn't want folks like, myself and others to have that, that right because of the fact that these are the ones that you were writing off or not even concerned with or considering. Mm-hmm. Now they have a say-so now in how things are going to go forward politically.
Right. Now, you talked a little bit about the criminal justice system.
Yes.
And the criminal justice system came under a lot of scrutiny nationwide after the George Floyd protests, right, in 2020. Do you think the system has changed enough since then?
Well, I'll say this. I was, like everyone else, I got a chance to see the video. Mm-hmm. And I seen somebody kneeling on a man's neck, no matter what his complexion was. I wouldn't care what the complexion was of the person, but the human being that was laying there, and you had another person putting their foot on their neck and choking them out, and like literally, legally, just because they were a police officer, said, okay, well, I'm going to take this person's life. Mm-hmm. He was handcuffed, he was laying there, he's calling for his mother. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't touch you as a human being, then there's something mentally wrong with you. So upon that, when that happened, myself and 6 other brothers, right? The Expressway 7, 6 of us. It's 7 of us. So myself and 6 others included. Mm-hmm. We said, what are we going to do as men? Right. What are we going to do as fathers, grandfathers, as activists in the community? As people of the community, as community members, what are we going to do to put our voice to it and say what we got to say? Stand up, speak out, say something. So on July 4th of 2020, well, prior to July 4th of 2020, there was protests going on all around. After what had happened, there was protests going on all around, the world.
Absolutely.
It was going on all the world. So the whole world was like, enough is enough. That's it. So I said, okay, well, am I going to sit back and just let everybody else do the work, or am I going to step up and do my part? Okay, that's what I decided. I said, okay, it's time for me to step up and do my part. So as I'm stepping up to do my part, a couple of my individuals, like I said, the 6 other people, they said, well, listen, we're going to do a protest July 4th, 2020, and on America's Independence Day, right? It's independence for America, but people that look like me we're still under the amending the 13th because of the fact that we're still a slave in some capacity, right? So we go out and we decide to protest peacefully, without weapons, without any violence or anything like that. And we did it in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The reason why I'm being specific is because on that day of Independence Day for America, there was a mayor of the city of Atlantic City that decided that prior to us protesting and marching and having our voices out there, who happens to be a person who's my complexion, but he could care less. Meaning, like, he's a Negro, but with this, what he did was he got out there and said, well, I don't care who gets out there, I'm gonna have them arrested. So we have a right to protest, to march, to let our voices be heard, a First Amendment right. But this guy said, yeah, well, if you do that in this city, I'm going to have you arrested, right? So we didn't take it as a challenge. We just said, okay, this guy's just blowing hot air, right? Lo and behold, July 4th, 2020, I'm telling you, they had every law enforcement, they had guns bigger than me and you out there, standing there at our protest, and then they arrested it. They arrested 7 black men on the Atlantic City Expressway, and they charged us with failure to listen to a police officer, resisting arrest, and blocking traffic. That's what they arrested us for. There were no cars. The police officer said. The police officer didn't give us any warnings or any type of orders or anything like that, but they still went ahead with violating our rights and arresting us. July 4th, 2020. And I'll have you know, we still haven't had our day in court, and it's almost 2023. And we're still going to court for that because we exercise our right to protest and free speech.
Now, what have your experiences with the police department and the Atlantic City government as a whole kind of taught you about New Jersey criminal justice system?
So, with that situation and what happened to us on July 4th of 2020, and our rights being violated, I kind of knew prior to that I had rights. They say I have rights on the books, but it really doesn't matter to law enforcement or to the government or to the powers that be.
Right.
It really doesn't matter in their eyes. Now, I'll say that for me, but then somebody that may be of a different ethnicity, they have their rights. Their rights are respected. They get laws passed. They get legislation passed. And even though I know that, I still stand up and I still go for what I think I have. Meaning, I think that I have this right to do this, and I'll still put my life, my liberty on the line. Meaning, I could be killed, I could be locked up as I was. You know what I mean? But it still is not going to stop me in regard to that. And knowing that, I still go forward because of the fact that I have children. I have people that I care about. And I want them to at least say, well, at least what did my dad do? What did my uncle do? What did my brother do? What did my my friend do to stand up for our rights? So going forward with that, back to answer your question, the criminal justice system, it seems like it works one way and it doesn't work the other way. You know what I mean? But we still go forward and we push and we ask for what we're supposed to have, not no handout, but what we're supposed to have, because it's our rights as human beings. And but I don't see it happening the way that they script it to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just it is what it is. You know what I mean? But it's still not going to stop us, and it's still not going to stop me. Until my you know, my time that I'm no longer here, and you know, this film is out, or you know, people like yourself exist, we're going to continue to do what we do, and hopefully get others through like all the other organizations that I'm a part of. Tell them, listen, just keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Like, just like a lot of my ancestors and my elders that are no longer here that made their transition.
Right.
That, you know, I learned from them, and I got to keep the torch burning because of the fact that, you know, I can't let them, you know, I can't let their time and their opportunity and what they did in their time of life just fall by the wayside. I have to keep the flame going.
Right. Now, I mean, going through what you've been through, a lot of people might lose their drive. They might feel that the system can't be changed, right? But how do you think we can work to engage more people in politics and convince them that their actions matter?
I'll say this. I'll say it starts with the younger folks like yourself, and bringing the spotlight to negativity, to darkness, into what's not happening. As long as you have someone that's willing to do what you guys are doing, and speaking truth to power and holding people accountable, and saying, well, listen, if it's supposed to be like this, then why isn't it like that? And make people answer. You know, and when I say make them answer, meaning just ask the question at a council meeting, ask the question at election time, ask the question at school board meetings. You know what I mean? Why is it not like this, or why is this happening, or why did you let that happen to this family? You know what I mean? Speak out and ask, and see what type of answers you get. And also, if they don't answer you in time, put it in the email. Make a record of it,
right,
so that you can say, well, at this time, because a lot of times you'll say, oh, well, I didn't hear that. Oh, you didn't? Well, you received the email. you received the record. I got the recording.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people catch amnesia at the right time.
Right. Now, I want to go back to something that you mentioned a little bit earlier. You said that we have rights on paper, but a lot of people don't actually have those rights in practice, right?
Right.
Now, let's say you were in charge, right? What kind of reforms would you maybe put in place to make sure that people actually get the rights that they deserve?
Well, your rights are not, it's not something you deserve, it's something you're born with.
Right.
It's as a human being, you have rights. And when the Bill of Rights and the Constitution was formulated, it was taking into consideration the human being, because it was talking about free speech. It was talking about the right to your possessions, from illegal searches, the right to remain silent, and to keep the people from just barging into your home and just taking your possessions and stuff like that. So it was protections, right? The only thing I can say about that is just have folks hold them accountable and stand up for it. Even if they threaten you with death, if they threaten you with locking you up, if they threaten you with, I'll take this or I'll take that. Don't let that fear stop you from what you deserve by your birthright. It's your birthright to be free. It's your birthright for somebody to not take your goods. It's your birthright for somebody to not violate you in any type of way. I don't care what position they hold. I don't care if they're police, mayor, governor, president, what have you. Nobody's above your rights. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be equal to you as a human being, and equal to me as a human being. So that doesn't give them the right to enforce their will, just because they may not like what you say, they may not like the way you look, they may not like I don't know, the way you wear your hair. But that's on them. They have to deal with that. But then when they sit there and get in positions of power or political positions, then they start doing things to go against the people. That's when the people are supposed to step up.
If you could go back, talk to your younger self, right? Give him some advice on your life, what's to come. What would you say to him?
Talking to my younger self, there's a reason. I would say, younger self, there's a reason why your community is the way it is. There's a reason. It's not just because you can't achieve, or you don't have enough, you're not smart enough, or you're not intelligent enough to do certain things. To my younger self, the resources should be a lot more in regard to, because of the fact that when you come from not having a lot, and then you see a lot of things around you where you say, like a lot of shiny stuff, it's like, wow, this person has a car, this person has this person has that, or people are living in better conditions than you. That creates a want, or or a desire in you. I tell my younger self, don't be so distracted by those things. Stay focused. Get your education. Learn your rights. Learn what you're supposed to have. Please don't do any crime. Don't do no crimes. Don't do anything to go against your community. Be more helpful to your community. Serve the older people, the elders. Help the younger ones to grow up. Whether they're doing sports or activities or what have you, and just help out that way more. And just don't be quick to say, to heck with it, I'm gonna go ahead and do something that's not right. You know what I mean? That's what I would tell my younger self, just to stay focused and, do more of service to your community.
Right.
Just be more of service.
Now, in terms of community improvement, what resources or programs do you think would be most beneficial to advancing lower income or disadvantaged communities in New Jersey?
Well, with me, like I said, I deal with several organizations. You name the city, and if there's somebody doing some positive work in that community, I'm affiliated with them, or I know somebody that's a part of them. Like you name the city. If like a city like Newark, you have the Newark Street team. I mean the Street Academy. Pardon me. You have the Newark Street Academy. They do a lot of good work with some disadvantaged youth, and help them get their education and move them on to whether it be vocational training, college, or what have you. If you're in like a city like Jersey City, you have the Credible Messenger movement, where they go and get with system impacted folks, as well as in Jersey City, you have Gosabra Insights. They do a lot of work, positive work in the community. You come in this area, the New Brunswick area. You have Franklin Grace Institute, a resource center, and they help people find workforce development situations. They do food giveaways, they do clothing drives, they do things like that. You have Next Man Up out of New Brunswick. You have Latino Action Network. You have what else? Then you move down, city like Trenton. You have Howard's Healthy Choices, and that's Miss Howard. She does things with the youth there, where she get them at young ages, and she helps out to where though the families can drop their children off in a safe space, so that she does activities and different things for them to have the youth to volunteer within the neighborhood. And then you have my guy Pies Learn to Earn. And I'm talking about, and these are real hard hit cities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you got to say like Camden. You have the Dare Academy. You have Transformative Justice Initiative. These are all things that are on the ground, that are talking and finding out what's going on in these areas, to actually bring resources and opportunities to folks that are like you said, that are less fortunate. You know what I mean? They're not just talking; they're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what would be my solution, to get with these organizations that's boots on the ground, and actually do things to help people that are suffering and hurting and need assistance and resources.
Absolutely.
Well,
we've talked about a lot of issues about justice today, and I want to thank you so much for your time. But we like to end on a little bit of a more of a lighter note.
Yes.
Right. So for our last question, if you could think of one song that would sum up your worldview, your whole project, and giving back to the community, what would that be?
Get Up, Stand Up for Your Rights by Bob Marley.
All right. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
All right. It was a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure. And I like the work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.